everybody. Some would say I'm the Reverse, and welcome to a tier list video of all the Clone Wars arcs from the worst to the best. Here we have every single Clone Wars arc from seasons 1 to season 7. At the bottom here we have a few standalone episodes. I did not make this list. This is on tiermaker.com. I just found one that I liked. I didn't make the list, for some reason the creator of this list included some standalone episodes that I'm not going to be putting on there because they're not arcs. So those are just the ones at the bottom here. So those ones won't be being put on the list, but for some reason they were included on here. So yeah, but minus those, we have a lot of arcs to get through. So I'm going to try to not waste a lot of time on them. I believe we have 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36. We have 39 arcs here, if my counting is correct. So yeah, we have a lot of them to get through. As you can see up on the top here, we have 5 tiers. We have S tier for the amazing arcs of this show, which there are quite a few S tiers. We have A tiers for those arcs that are really, really good. They're not good enough to make that top tier, but they're really good. We have D tier, which are the middle of the road, decent arcs of the show. We have D tier for the ones that are like meh. They're not great, but they're not terrible. And then there's the F tier, which are just the arcs that you can automatically just skip if you really wanted to. Those arcs that are just pretty bad. So yeah, as you can see, we got a lot of arcs to get through. So yeah, let's just start. These are in order of when they show up in the series. So it's not in chronological order. So yeah, there are a few that are split up. Like there's an episode in season 1 and then there's other episodes in season 4 or something like that. I'm pretty sure I just placed them to the latest episode. So say if an arc has an episode in season 1 and then the rest of the episodes are in season 4, I placed it where those season 4 episodes are. So yeah, we got a lot to get through. Let's start off with the Clone Wars movie, which is it's an F tier. It's cringy. It is it's obviously that test run. I don't think it was a smart idea to release it cinematically in a theater first. I think that was poor decision. This doesn't introduce Ahsoka and stuff like that. It introduces us to like Rex and stuff, but it is cringy. It wouldn't have been as bad if it was in a TV format, but because it's in a movie format, it has that higher expectation, and it's terrible. The animation is poor, it's very rough, and yeah, everything about this arc just isn't quite there. Next, we have the Malevolence arc, which consists of season 1, episodes 2, 3, and 4, I believe. This arc is pretty good. Introduces us to General Grievous, Count Dooku, those characters for this in the show itself. I believe this is also the first we see of like Ahsoka, Anakin, Obi-Wan, all of those in this actual show. Yeah, I like the Malevolence. It's a cool design. I like seeing Plo Koon, and yeah, I think the episodes themselves are very entertaining. It does have that season 1 childish kind of feel, but it's a lot of fun, and I think it deserves to be in the B tier. Downfall of a Droid, whatever you want to call this arc, Duel of the Droids, Downfall of a Droid. It's a 2-episode arc with R2-D2 getting lost, and they get a replacement droid, and basically, yeah, the first episode of this arc isn't great. I think it's the worst animation of the show ever. I believe it's like the first episode they actually made, which makes sense why the animation is pretty poor. But the second episode I actually really enjoy. We got a cool lightsaber duel between Ahsoka and Grievous. We got Anakin, really good moments with him. R2 is really good in this arc. The action is up to par. Yeah, overall, a decent arc. The second episode is much better than the first episode, but that first episode does drag it down a little bit. So yeah, I think this should go in the D tier. Next, we have the new Gunray arc, which is very loosely connected. It's 3 episodes back to back that are very loosely strung together. Bombette Jedi is very bad. It's a Jar Jar Binks episode. I think it's the one of the weakest episodes of the entire show. It's not very good. It is fun when you're like 5, 6 years old, but it's not very fun to watch when you grow up a little. And then the next episode, Cloak of Darkness, is pretty enjoyable. It's a little bit rough, and yeah, it's not very like a deep episode. It's very childish episode, but it is pretty fun. We got some cool lightsaber duels and stuff like that in it. And then Lair of Grievous is really good episode. I really enjoy that episode. Grievous is good in it. His lair is cool. Kit Fisto is awesome as usual, and yeah, this arc as a whole just it isn't really connected, and yeah, it's very loosely connected, but I think it is rather enjoyable. It's just that as an arc, it doesn't function very well. I'm gonna be putting it in the D tier, probably above Downfall of Droid or Duel of Droids, whatever you want to call it. Next, we have, I don't know what you'd call this, the Pirates arc of Season 1. We get introduced to Hondo, which is an awesome character. I really like him. First episode, Dooku captured. Dooku, obviously, captured by the pirates. Obi-Wan and Anakin go to pick him up so he can be a Republic prisoner. They take them captive, and yeah. Gungan General is weaker episode. We got Jar Jar in the mix and stuff. But yeah, rather enjoyable arc for Season 1 standards. It still doesn't hold up to the rest of the show, though. I'm going to be putting it in the D tier above the others. Actually, no. Yeah, I'm going to be putting it in the B tier right there. Jedi Crash is very entertaining. I really like the space or the atmospheric battle at the beginning. Very visually impressive. Aayla Secura is cool. I love seeing Anakin doing some heroic stuff. The village, the I don't know what you'd call him, like the chief of the village, I guess. Pretty stubborn. He's a pretty annoying character, but yeah, we got some cool action scenes and stuff in this one. Still not a very interesting story that they're telling here. I'm going to be putting this in the D tier. It's enjoyable for what it is, but it's not a very interesting story. Blue Shadow Virus, first episode is meh. I mean, they're just, in a separatist lab and stuff. And yeah. Second episode, they go to Aigo, whatever it's called, and they do some stuff there, and there's a virus that spreads, and yeah, it's a pretty enjoyable arc, but yeah. I really like the idea of the virus, except that it, they don't do really anything interesting with it. I mean, it's cool seeing it infect our characters and stuff, but it goes nowhere. Overall, not an amazing episode. I'll probably put it in the D tier. Yeah, behind that arc there. Ryloth is definitely the best arc of Season 1. It's a great ending. It's not the actual ending of Season 1. There's an episode after it, but it is very entertaining. And yeah, first episode, Storm over Ryloth. Very interesting space battle. I love the uniqueness of the strategies and everything there. Second episode, Innocence of Ryloth. Very enjoyable. I love seeing Obi-Wan and Waxer and Boyle and the Twi'leks and stuff like that. Then third episode, Liberty on Ryloth. Mace Windu was really badass, and yeah, so a very enjoyable arc. Definitely the best of Season 1, putting in the B tier. Next, we got the Season 2 arcs, starting with Holocron Heist. Very enjoyable arc. Cad Bane gets to shine in this arc. He sneaks into the Jedi Temple, gets the Holocron, goes and kidnaps some Jedi kids. We get Mustafar. Just a very enjoyable arc and a very interesting story that it tells. I'm going to be putting this at the top of the B tier. The second Battle of Geonosis is definitely the best arc to date. The Landing at Point Rain episode is very, very well constructed war episode. Katie Mundy is really cool in that episode, and yeah. What's next? Weapons Factory, pretty weak episode. in terms of the entire arc, probably the worst episode of the arc. But still pretty enjoyable. I like seeing Ahsoka and Barriss. Their dynamic's cool. Luminar and Anakin are a cool duo. So yeah. Legacy of Terror, I think, is the next episode. We get the undead Geonosians and the Geonosian Queen. That's very creepy and it's very horror inspired, and I love it. And then Brain Invaders, very cool. I love the brain worms and all that. It transcends multiple different genres. It feels like a war movie, horror movie, a zombie movie, a space alien movie. It's just a very, very, very interesting arc. And yeah, they do a lot of cool things in it. So yeah, that's an easy A tier for me. Next, we have Grievous Intrigue, which is a 2-episode arc. The first one is Grievous Intrigue. We get Eth Koth in there, and yeah. I think we have Adi Gallia in here. We have Anakin and Obi-Wan and Cody and Rex and Grievous, and yeah, it's very interesting and entertaining episode. And then we got the Deserter, which is a very good Captain Rex episode with Cut Lock Queen and the farm on Seleucami and all that. Very, very it's not a hugely interesting arc, but it is very well executed in my opinion. So that is going up into the B tier, probably right there. Next we have the Mandalore plot arc, which is definitely an awesome arc. We get the introduction to Mandalore and Death Watch and Duchess Satine and the Darksaber and Pre Vizsla and all that. It's just done very well. We have this whole Mandalorian lore introduced to us, and it's done very well. It's not too much, doesn't get shoved down your throat. All 3 episodes flow very, very nicely together, and there's some great action, great characters. It's very important for the rest of the series, and actually Rebels and The Mandalorian. There's a lot of stuff set up, and it's a very iconic arc at this point. So yeah, this is an easy A tier for me right there. Next, we have the Zillo Beast, which is a 2-episode arc, the Zillo Beast and the Zillo Beast Strikes Back. Very fun arc. It's got that Godzilla inspiration. I think the first episode is very, very cool. I really like the action scenes there, and yeah. And then the second episode, I think it's a pretty stupid idea for them to bring it to Coruscant, and of course it backfires. So I don't really like that. The characters are pretty stupid there. But it does introduce, it does have some cool, it feels very King Kong Unleashed on New York City or whatever. I really like that. Overall, I think it's a very entertaining arc. So, yeah, I'm going to be putting this in the B tier, probably under the Malevolence arc. Next, we have the Boba Fett's Revenge arc, which ends off Season 2. Very cool to see young Boba Fett, and he's much better in this than he was in Attack of the Clones. He's trying to get revenge on Mace Windu. Very well done. I loved Aurra Sing in here. I believe Bossk is in here as well. Yeah, it's just very enjoyable arc here. So yeah, that I think deserves to be A tier. Actually, no, I'm going to be putting it at the top of the B tier, which is getting a little bit crowded, but, you know, it's a very good arc. So, yeah. Next, we got Season 3. The first one, actually, is a kind of a split arc. We have the Clone Cadets arc, which starts, actually, Season 1, Episode 5, with Rookies, which is a great episode, one of the best of that season. Introduces us to the individuality of the clones, introduces us to Fives and Echo and Heavy and good Rex and Commander Cody episode. Then we get the Clone Cadets, which, we get Domino Squad, all those characters coming back for a kind of like a flashback episode. Very fun. Oh, excuse me. Oh my goodness. And then after that, we have ARC Troopers, which is the exploration of Fives and Echo as ARC Troopers in the Battle of Kamino and Asajj Ventress and Anakin and Obi-Wan and Grievous and all of that. It's a very fun arc. So yeah, this one is an easy A tier for me. Definitely goes up. Yeah, right there. I do believe the other two are better than that, though. Next we have the Mandalore Corruption arc from Season 3, which I think is the weakest of the Mandalore plots on the show. Still isn't terrible. I do like the politics of it. I like Ahsoka having a teacher and teaching all these Mandalorian cadets at the academy. That was really cool, and I really like the cadets kind of uncovering this conspiracy on their own with Prime Minister Almec and everything. Yeah. It is enjoyable. I think it is the weakest of the Mandalore stuff. So, yeah, where is this gonna go? I'm gonna probably put it this... Oops. Probably gonna be putting this in the B tier. Probably right here. So yeah, I do enjoy the politics of it, and I think the Clone Wars overall does politics very well, and yeah, this is a good example of it. Then we have the Night Sisters arc, which is a great arc. Night Sisters is, Count Dooku betrays Asajj Ventress, and she goes, we meet all the witches on Dathomir, that was great. Monster, we introduce Savage Opress to the mix, he's a cool character. And then Witches of the Mist, the big finale to this trilogy. Yeah, there's a lot of betrayals and yeah, like a 5-way lightsaber duel between Savage and Asajj and Count Dooku and Anakin and Obi-Wan. And it's a fun arc and introduces a lot of stuff for the future of this show. So this is an easy A tier for me right there. Next is the Mortis arc, which is a very important arc in terms of the Force mythology. We have the father, the son, the daughter, some of my favorite characters in the show. Sam Witwer especially does a great job as the son. I really enjoyed the deep dive into the Chosen One and the prophecy and all that was great. Anakin was great. Ahsoka turning the dark side was great. Obi-Wan was great in this arc. Everybody just shined in this arc, and I really love the ambiguity of this arc. You don't really know if it's a collective dream sequence or if they were transported to another realm or what the heck is happening. So yeah. This is definitely one of the best arcs of the entire show, and I think it deserves an S tier ranking. Next, we have the Citadel, which is a fun prison break heist episode where they break out Evan Piel and Captain Tarkin, and it's pretty brutal, actually. There's a lot of death in this episode, or in this arc. We got the death of Echo and the death of Evan Piel. It's a very mature arc, one of the more mature arcs up until this point, and I really like this arc. I thought it was really fun. The Citadel is a cool location, and yeah, this is an easy A tier for me. I think it deserves. This is a hard one. Yeah, I think I prefer it over Night Sisters. Next we have Padawan Lost, or whatever you want to call this arc. It is the end of Season 3. Ahsoka gets kidnapped by some Trandoshans. She gets let free in a jungle with some Padawans and stuff, and she gets hunted. Shows the true, just animalistic nature of the Trandoshans. They hunt for sport, and it's very interesting. And at the end, we get Chewbacca and Tarful, I believe, is in this arc. And all the Wookiees. It's just a fun arc and interesting way to end Season 3. I think it is a B tier arc, probably behind Holocron Heist. No, maybe, yeah, behind Holocron Heist. Next, we have Water War, which was an interesting way to start off Season 4. We get an interesting battle underwater in the oceans of Mon Cala. We get put in the midst of a civil war between the Mon Calamari and the Quarren. Very interesting. It was cool seeing Kit Fisto and Anakin and Ahsoka and Padme and Jar Jar, I guess. I don't know. But yeah. It's very cool arc aesthetically, and I really like the politics of this Mon Cala civil war and all that. And yeah. So I think this definitely deserves to be a B tier arc. Where does it rank? Probably behind Grievous Intrigue. Yeah. Next, we have Nomad Droids, which is an easy F tier for me. I think this is just a very boring arc. There's nothing special about this arc at all. It's a C-3PO and R2-D2 adventure, and it's just really boring to me. The first episode, I believe, is on the planet of Aleen or something, and they discover this thing underground with these walking trees or whatever it is. I don't know what the heck they were thinking about this arc. They were trying to go wacky, and it was whack. for sure. And then the second episode, I believe they go like from planet to planet. I don't know. It is just not very enjoyable for me at all. It's a very boring arc, and I think it's the worst arc of the show, by far, because it's just not interesting or entertaining to me at all. And it has no value at all to me. And then Umbara, probably, yeah, right there. No, just kidding. Umbara is one of the best arcs of the entire show. It's so the depth there, the character development, the plot points, everything about it is just masterful. It's amazing. I loved Captain Rex and the clones and Ponkrell just bringing out these awesome character development moments from all the clones, and they're all faithful to their personalities, but they're all challenged in interesting ways, and I just love it. It's so entertaining, it's so deep, and there's a lot of standout moments from it. All the episodes are very, very entertaining, and yeah, it's just a great arc. The Zygerian slave arc is definitely an overlooked one. I think it's an easy B tier, top of the B tier arc for me. Probably, I don't know, probably above Boba's Revenge. I really love the character development it brings out in Anakin, him being a slave, obviously, and having to play the part of a slaver. Obi-Wan is challenged in this arc as well, as he has to live among the slaves and kind of just be patient and wait until he can be rescued and stuff. And yeah, I just really enjoy this arc, and it's very, very mature. It's very dark, and it explores that subject matter that not a lot of kids shows go into. And yeah, I think it's very enjoyable. Next is The Box, which in my opinion is an easy A tier. It's close to S tier. It's very, very enjoyable. Better than Clone Cadets, better than Mandalore Plot, better than the Second Battle of Geonosis. I think it's even better than the Night Sisters, and it's better than the Citadel. So, yeah. The Box is super enjoyable. Obi-Wan fakes his death. He goes undercover as a bounty hunter. Cad Bane is awesome in this arc. I love Cad Bane in this arc. What else do we got? The Box as just a challenge is very entertaining. I love all the different levels and the challenges that are given to them. And the final episode where their plan goes through and they try to kidnap the Chancellor, I think it's very creative, and the way they do that, got a cool Anakin versus Dooku duel at the end. I think overall very enjoyable. It's a very unique concept, done very well. Next we have Asajj Ventress's arc with the first episode being Massacre, where all the Night Sisters are wiped out by the Separatists. This episode feels a little bit amateurish. It feels just the pacing of it and everything feels very Season 1-esque. I think the content within it is very cool. I love Asajj Ventress versus General Grievous. I love all the Night Sisters and the tragedy behind their slaughtering and all that. The undead Night Sisters are very freaky and very cool. But it's just, I don't know. It's fun though. Second episode is better in my opinion. They go on this train heist with Boba Fett and Dengar and Bossk and all them. Very fun. So yeah, this I think definitely a B tier arc. Probably ranks around here. Maybe under the Ryloth arc. I think it is enjoyable. It does wonders for Asajj Ventress's character. Actually, you know what? Now that I say that, I'm probably going to bring it up quite a few because of what it does for Asajj Ventress's character. It actually turns her into a really fun character, very good character. I didn't really even think about that, but yeah. Next, we have Maul's return arc, which is at the end of Season 4, into the start of Season 5. We have, Brothers is the first one, where Savage goes looking for Maul, and he finds him and as a spider creature and brings him back to Mother Talzin. And then Maul gets his cybernetic legs. He goes after Obi-Wan looking for revenge. He fights with Asajj Ventress. It's Obi-Wan and Ventress versus Maul and Savage. And then at the start of the season, we got Obi-Wan and Adi Gallia versus the two brothers with Honto, and it's a very fun arc. And obviously it brings Maul back to life, which is just a feat that definitely is very, very hard to do right, but they did it, and it was awesome. This arc, I think, should be placed above Clone Cadets, but below Mandalore plot. Very entertaining arc. Next, we have Onderon, which in my opinion is a pretty fun arc. I have a lot of nostalgia for this one as I was watching the Clone Wars live every week when this arc came on the air. I'm going to be putting it there. We have our introduction to Saw Gerrera, and we have a kind of proto-rebel alliance fighting against the Separatists. Pretty cool. Yeah. I don't really know what else to say. It's not amazing, but it is a fun arc nonetheless. So yeah. Next we have the Youngling arc, which in my opinion is better than Onderon. I really liked seeing how the Younglings gather their lightsabers and stuff, and Ahsoka has an interesting dynamic with them. We have Hondo in here, and he kind of takes a liking to that younger youngling and kind of has a connection with her. Very cool. Overall, pretty enjoyable arc. Nothing amazing about it, but yeah. Next is the droid arc. Whatever you want to call it. Definitely underrated in my opinion. It's not amazing. It's not absolute. It's not going to blow your socks off, but it doesn't deserve the hate that it gets. I get it. The droids and Colonel Gascon can be a little bit annoying sometimes, but once you get to the Void, I think that's a super cool location. It's very eerie, but it's also, I don't know how to explain it. It's just very cool. And then we get Gregor in this arc, who is really cool. So yeah, this is a D tier. Better than that, better than that, better than that, better than that. I'm gonna put it there, yeah. Next we have Maul on Mandalore, which is an easy S tier. This is just storytelling at its best. Like, holy crap, Maul is better than ever in this arc. He comes back, he builds his criminal army, he teams up with Death Watch, which is the coolest crossover in Star Wars history. And then he takes over Mandalore with them. He draws Obi-Wan to Mandalore, he kills Satine, he battles with Savage against Sidious, and he loses, and the Lawless, the third episode, The Lawless, is just a masterpiece. So yeah, that episode is just insane. And this arc is very, 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 very good. Next we have Ahsoka's, I don't know what you'd call it, temple bombing, Ahsoka leaves, Ahsoka's trial, I don't care. It's an S tier. It's one of the best arcs of the entire show. And, yeah, I really love the Hitchcock storytelling, here, and the inspiration from it, the obvious inspiration from it. It's done very, very well. This arc does wonders for Ahsoka's character, does wonders for Anakin's character, and I love it. And that closing moment of Ahsoka leaving the Jedi Order is heartbreaking. It's bittersweet. I don't know. It's a masterpiece of storytelling in my opinion, and yeah. Next is the Fives Conspiracy arc from Season 6, in which Clone Trooper Tup's inhibitor chip goes off early, and he kills a Jedi, and Fives brings him to Kamino, and he begins investigating, and it's just an incredible arc. I'd probably put it right there. It is, I don't know, it's just incredible. From the beginning to when Fives begins to learn about this conspiracy and all that, to the end when Fives gets killed, and it's a beautiful arc, and with all we know about what happens in the future, it's just tragic, and yeah. Next we have the Rush Clovis arc, the Banking Clan arc, whatever you want to call it. Not an amazing arc, but it does entertain, and I think it does have some really good stuff in here. I do love the politics of this arc. I think it definitely handles politics better than most political episodes of the Clone Wars, which, like I said earlier, the Clone Wars handles politics very well, but this is some of the better politics in the show. So yeah. In terms of the characters, I really loved Clovis and Padme's relationship and how it affects Anakin. I think that is that's very good. So yeah, this episode is an easy B tier for me. Definitely higher in the tier for me. I think that's pretty good placement. Nah, actually, I'm gonna be putting it here. All these arcs are very close together, so I can't even decide half the time. But yeah, some standout moments are when Anakin beats the living crap out of Clovis, or the Embo chase scene is very interesting. I love Embo as a character, and it's awesome to see him again with his dog and his hat, and he uses it as a sled. That was very cool. All of it is just it's a mediocre idea executed very well. So yeah. Yeah. Next we have The Disappeared, which is an easy D tier for me. It's a Jar Jar. It's a Jar Jar arc, and it's very weird, and I don't know. But it's kind of that episode you just sit back, you kind of forget all of your objective criticisms and stuff, and you just have kind of a fun time. So yeah. Not very good, but it's a D tier arc. So yeah. Next we have Yoda's Journey, which is very awesome. I love the way it explores the Force mythology and all that, and it's Yoda's trial to becoming a Force ghost and all of that. It's a really, really great arc. In my opinion, it's an S tier. I just love his journey to Dagobah and to this other planet when he meets all these mysterious priestesses and stuff, and then he goes to Moraband and he meets Darth Bane, and then he has this awesome vision of Anakin, and he kills Dooku, and he fights Sidious, and he almost learns who Sidious is, and then boom. It's masterfully created, and I love it. It was a great ending to the show until season 7 came back and gave us an even better one. I'll get to that, but I loved this arc, and yeah. It does wonders for Yoda's character as well. I loved seeing the Dark Yoda and all that, and just Yoda's reaction to seeing these kind of premonitions of the end of the war. And one of the sadder scenes of the show is actually when Yoda gets a vision of what the Jedi Temple would be like if there was no war. It's actually quite sad, just seeing how peaceful it could have been if Palpatine wasn't such a bitch. So next we have the Bad Batch. This is a fun arc. It was a great way to open up season 7. The animation here is just awesome. It looks amazing. So yeah, the characters aren't amazing, but I feel like they're gonna get fleshed out because they're getting a series of their own. So yeah, it was a very good way to open up season 7, reacquainting us with the clones, especially Captain Rex, who's a big part later on in the season. We also get some cool moments with Anakin, and Obi-Wan is in here for a little bit, and he kind of gives the impression that he knows about Anakin and Padme and stuff, and I don't know, this arc is just really good, and it's kind of that trademark average Clone Wars episode, but it's amplified with improved visuals, some really cool character moments sprinkled throughout, and set up for the Clone Wars sequel show that's coming out on Disney Plus next year. So yeah, very very fun arc. Martez Sisters is it's not as bad as everyone says. Okay, it's pretty average, but the placement, that being it's in the middle of the final season, takes up a third of the final season. That was kind of questionable, but it's pretty good. Trace and Rafa aren't great characters, and yeah. But there are some shining moments out here, like Bo-Katan and the Night Owls kind of watching Ahsoka, and the Darth Maul hologram scene was pretty cool. So yeah, I don't know. It's underrated. It's way overhated, but it's not terrible. I do think it's a D tier. It doesn't really add any. It surprisingly really doesn't add anything to Ahsoka's character. It just shows how she's kind of choosing her own path and what she's really doing after she left the Order. Doesn't really. It's not really productive in what it's trying to do. And then there's the Siege of Mandalore, which is just. It's perfect. I really have no gripes with this. The only gripe I can come up with is I kind of wish Duel of the Fates played during the Darth Maul Ahsoka duel, but other than that, it's a perfect arc. It's cinematic, its storytelling is rich, deep, heart-wrenching, heartwarming. There's amazing moments sprinkled through every minute of the entire arc. If this were a movie, it'd arguably be one of the, if not the best Star Wars movie to date, ever. Yeah, every character just shines in this arc. Every arc in the entire show for these characters is wrapped up beautifully. It ends in a tragic way, which is very mature and very, very fitting for a show that, takes place during this time period. I really don't have anything else to say. It's just a perfect arc. It's everything you could hope for from this show and more. And I think it's the perfect ending to not only this show, but also just this era of Star Wars. It tells kind of like the background story of Revenge of the Sith. It takes the characters we know are out there and shows us what they're doing at this time period. And it does it in an amazing way. I just love it. I love it. It is such an amazing arc, and yeah. So that is my list. As you can see at the bottom here, there's quite a few other episodes here that were some reason placed in here, like the Bounty Hunters and Trespass and the Hunt for Zero. None of these are actual arcs. I don't know why they're here. You could make the case for like the Hunt of Zero is kind of wrapped into the storyline of Hostage Crisis and Evil Plans. Similarly, what's this episode called? Supply Lines, I think that is wrapped up into the storyline of Ambush and stuff like that. But yeah, they're all kind of standalone episodes. So I don't know why they were placed on this list, but yeah, this show is amazing, and I love so much of it. The S tiers are some of the best storytelling in all of Star Wars. The A tier are those arcs that are just really, really great. All the ones in the B tier, these top B tier episodes are very interesting arcs that I think are worth watching. And then these bottom B tier arcs are kind of the ones you don't need to watch, but they're still pretty fun. The D tier arcs are meh. I think the top few are like, okay, you should watch these. They're interesting. They're not great, but the bottom few are like, kind of shut your brain off and just watch them. But they're not great. And then the F tiers are pretty cringeworthy or just not interesting and not productive, kind of a waste of your time. So yeah. Tell me in the comments your ranking. I really don't know how what people think of these kind of middle arcs. I mean, everyone loves Umbara. Everyone loves the Siege of Mandalore and Maul's takeover of Mandalore. And everyone loves Yoda's journey and Fives and Ahsoka's trial, or whatever you want to call it. Everyone at least likes Mortis. Everyone loves the box and all that. But I want to know what you guys think of, like, Boba's Revenge and Clovis and Zygeria and Ryloth arc. All these, I just want to see where all these rank on your guys' ranking. So, yeah, tell me in the comments what you thought of my ranking, what your ranking is. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. See ya.